Morning, students. Now, this is a video for 5-6 students, more so aimed at our Year 5 students, but Year 6s, you can revisit and have a look to see if you can remember all of these things that we did learn. It won't hurt to revisit. So, we are looking at understanding place value using decimals. So a decimal number is another way of writing a number which contains a fraction. Decimal numbers may be less than or greater than 1.0. The decimal point is used to separate the whole numbers from the fractions. It is always placed between the units column and the tenths column. So if we have a look to the side here, in green we have our whole number. So it is 23. Then we have our decimal point and we have our fraction, and we say that 6/10. So we're going to have a look further into that. So this is our place value chart. Okay, so when writing our decimal numbers, each digit holds a place. This place represents the value of that digit within the number. If there are any whole numbers in the decimal, these belong on the left-hand side. So I've put that in the red color, which is where they go on that chart. Any fractions or parts of a whole belong on the right-hand side of the decimal place. Place value in decimal numbers, tenths and hundredths. So let's have a quick look at this. So the first column on the right-hand side of the decimal point is the tenths column. So that is in the blue. The tenths column is 10 times smaller than the units column. The second column on the right-hand side of the decimal point is the hundredths column. The hundredths column is 10 times smaller than the tenths column. And so it would be cut up into 100 pieces. So we are going to now have a look at only our tenths. So we are going to be counting in tenths, and I have done a little demonstration to follow. So if you keep following along. So this is how we would write 1/10 on our place value chart at the top. We would say that as 1/10. As a fraction, we would write it as 1/10. And on our hundreds board or our tens board, we would only colour one section of that to represent 1/10. Now this is 2/10. We say that as 2/10. We do not say it as 0.2. It's said as 2/10. As a fraction, you write 2/10, and there are 2/10 now shaded on the board. 3/10. And as you can see, as we progress through this, the columns are getting shaded on the 10th board. So there is now 3 shaded to represent 3/10. This is 4/10, 5/10. And this also equals half. If you have a look at the board, it's now showing half of that board as coloured. 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. This is one whole, okay? So once we start to get to this area, the whole board is shaded, and it is, as a fraction, 10/10, but we simplify that to say one whole. We don't need to write it as 10/10. Okay, so what I need you to do now, so what I want you to do now is have a think. What do I do now? What could be coming next? Where are my numbers going to move to? So have a quick think. Okay, so this is what happens. We now have one whole board coloured. So continue counting in tenths. We have one whole board, and I've created an extra board there. And now we say this as 1 and 1/10. And if you have a look at the fraction below, it has 1 which represents the 1 whole, and we start all over again. So 1 and 1/10. So if you look at the board, 1 whole is coloured in. Then I've shaded 1 little tenth extra. So this is said as 1 and 1/10. If I continue this pattern, 1 and 2/10. Okay, so your job now is to continue my pattern all the way up to 2. I have included in your book pack these sheets, okay? So you need to write the decimal, the fraction, and the word form all the way up to 2, okay? Good luck. Can't wait to see all your work.